Hey guys, so I'm back to part 2 of my movie madness tag. I left off with my favorite biopic of The Blind Side, and so now I'm picking right up with my favorite childhood movie. And it's one that I saw over and over, and the fact that, you know, when you're in school and you have to watch like a rated G movie, you know, they will not let you watch anything else, and you see it on school trips and bus trips over and over, was Hook. One of the best that came out when I was little. I mean, I know there's a lot to pick from, but to me, this one I watched so much when I was little. And of course, it is a Steven Spielberg film. And everybody loves Robin Williams and Julia Roberts. It's great. I love this. This is just such a cool way to picture, kind of like the Ever After was, of what Peter Pan could be like if it were real life. You know, if these things really existed and he didn't, you know, he grew up. So it's kind of cool. So it's one of the best concepts I think they ever came out with, and the fact that it's a good family film, and it's just definitely a great take on that. So I love Hook. Then I have my favorite action movie, which action movies are very broad as well. There's just millions upon millions to pick from. And my husband, oh goodness, he makes me watch every action movie ever made. He makes me watch Indiana Jones over and over and over. But yeah, I'm a girl. I like some action, but I can't just dig it all day long. But I definitely picked one that's just, again, it's made by Disney, so it's kind of, I have a few of these. I just kind of picked what I felt it fit best for me. And I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, it could be a family movie, you know, family movie. It could be considered just my favorite Disney movie, one I've watched a lot. I mean, there's just, but to me, I would just wanted to fit it in with my favorite action movie, because, you know, it kind of never stops when you think about it. It's just one of those that really keeps going. I saw this a zillion times when it first came out. I love all the ones after it. Even the newest, The Stranger Tides, was great. I thought for sure it would let me down, but it did not. So the franchise of Pirates of the Caribbean is definitely one of my favorite, just especially with having a series of it, of just action movies, and I mean adventures even. I love those types of movies. I love kind of action adventures. So this one is just one of those that stands out in my mind when I want to pick my favorite action movie. Yeah, and oh, Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. I mean, come on. How can you top that? So yeah, and my favorite classic movie, you know, basically old school, what my parents loved, what I grew up loving. Never thought I would like it at first, but then because it is so long, and I'm sure once I say how long it is, you kind of have an idea what I might be talking about. Oh, Mr. Rhett Butler and Scarlett. Absolutely love Gone with the Wind. I've wanted to read the novel, but I don't know if I could make it, even though I love the movie so much. But Gone with the Wind is just one of those that, it's kind of like opera to me. You love it or you hate it. My husband, not so much. He's kind of a hater. But when we went to a theater here called the Alabama Theater, that in the summer they like to play Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind. They love to play some old classics. And I went for the first time with my parents when I was a teenager, and I was hooked. I mean, I was absolutely just stunned by the way it was made during the years that it was made, and I was definitely impressed with the story. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's one of the best movies that could ever be made, and I've heard rumors that they are actually going to try to remake it, like they want to revamp it, which it would be cool, but it kind of breaks my heart because it will never be this. But it'd be kind of cool to see, like, if with modern technology and modern filmmaking, of how this could really go. So I would definitely check it out, but nothing will ever beat the old Gone with the Wind. And so the next is my favorite historical movie, or kind of a documentary. Now, I picked one that's a little bit different because, yeah, people pick like Titanic, which is obviously just phenomenal. It's obviously great. But it's also one of those movies, I've watched it so much in the late 90s that, you know, to this day, I mean, come on, if you hear My Heart Will Go On, you kind of want to vomit a little bit. So I could have gone with that, but I picked something that's a little bit different because it didn't have the best ratings at the box office. Like, it's not one that's just people say, yes, I have to have that in my collection. But I picked World Trade Center. And again, most people are kind of like, what? Like, I don't get it. This movie, though, let me tell you about this movie, because it is based on two particular people's lives, these two men that were Port Authority police officers that got trapped. I mean, this movie will just, rip your heart out, but in a good way, because it really makes you have a better appreciation. Because it's one thing to say, oh, you know, I watched it on TV, I remember everything about it. But it's different when you see things like this that have such modern graphics and modern, like, you kind of see what really, like, what it really would have been like. And yeah, it's just one of the saddest but yet, like, most fulfilling movies I've ever seen. And it's just, I absolutely love it. Like, I love it from start to finish. I love the storylines. I love the characters. I love that it follows their families while they're trapped, you know, in the rubble. And it's just, you should definitely, if you are an American, you should definitely, if you have not seen this, check it out at least, because it's just great. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not so in-depth that you feel like, oh, this is just way too soon to see it because it was only, you know, so long ago. But you should definitely see it. I think as a patriot, you definitely have to give it a look. But yeah, so now it's a little deep side, but I love that movie. I really do. So the next is my favorite Girlie movie. Hands down, Sex and the City, because I love the series so much. It's really like my favorite series ever created. Best, most clever. I mean, I remember when I was not allowed to watch this when I was younger, when this show was on. My parents loved it. As I got older, they're like, okay, I guess it's cool, you know, because it's not like you don't know what they're talking about. Love it. When I knew that they had first came out with the first movie, I was just beyond excited. Then they came out with the second one, and now they're talking about making their third one. And I will keep seeing these ladies as long as they keep making them, because they are super fierce. They do no wrong, and they inspire every woman to be a better woman. So yeah. And the next is my favorite guilty pleasure movie. And I'm so, like, almost embarrassed to admit it, but that's the point of it, right? That it's a guilty pleasure. Yeah, I like High School Musical. I actually do. I don't necessarily dig the other two as much, but I actually really like this movie. It's not like my favorite musical or favorite kid movie by no means, but that's why it's called a guilty pleasure, right? It means you're kind of embarrassed that you watch it. So this is one of those I don't watch when the husband's home. It's like, you know, I'm in a giddy little teenage mood today, and that's about as bad as I'll get, I promise. But yeah, I kind of like my High School Musical. It's pretty fun. And the favorite tearjerker, which this one is just awful, but I love it, is 7 Pounds with Will Smith in it. I can't really say much about it without giving it way too much away, but man, if you ever want the most twisted, gut-wrenching ending in the history of, like, movies, you should definitely check this out. And if you're a Will Smith fan, like everybody is, then you should really, really check it out. Again, I can't go too much into it because it's just such a gut-wrenching movie, but I've seen this, I think, 4 times. I cry like a little kid every time, so definitely, it's one of the saddest ones I've ever seen, I have to admit. My favorite musical is Across the Universe. Love this movie. I would be considered one of my favorite of all times, but I just wanted to sling it in the musical category because it's a different musical. You know, most musicals are written the storylines and the music is written in to help explain how the characters feel and what's going on in the storyline. This one's backwards. This takes music from the Beatles and they take lyrics from the songs to create the movie. They create the whole storyline off of Beatles music. So yeah, it's pretty cool. If you love the Beatles anyway, you should definitely enjoy this. If you're a girly girl and you love chick flicks, you'll definitely enjoy this. Musicals, you'll enjoy this. So point blank, check out Across the Universe. It is great. My favorite, where are we at? Halloween movie, which I'm going to go different than like the, you know, the scary movies, because this is one I grew up with my parents, is the old House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price. I love this one and his House of Wax, and I didn't actually own House of Wax because I always watch it with my parents, so I've just never got around to buying it, but I do love this one as well. So yeah, I am a sucker for Vincent Price movies, especially when it comes to Halloween. I don't have to watch modern gory stuff to feel scared. Like, I love these classic, you know, black and white Vincent Price movies. I mean, his voice alone has me sold. And so my favorite holiday movie, and this one I actually did pick 2 for, because I picked one that's very, very just pure Christmas, and then I picked one that just, I could watch it all the time, but it is focused around Christmas. So I picked the Polar Express for my favorite, like, just pure Christmas movie. It is great. I'm so glad that Tom Hanks was a part of this. You know, the voiceovers he did were great. It is one of the sweetest, greatest stories I think could ever be told to help inspire kids, like the true meaning of Christmas, the spirit of Christmas. So yeah, I absolutely love it. And it does things, because it is Pixar, that a normal movie could never make. So it definitely just really takes it off the charts. And the next is The Family Stone. This is one of those as well that could easily be one of my favorite movies ever made, but I wanted to sling it with my holiday category because it is technically a Christmas film. Best movie ever, especially if you love stuff with dysfunctional families. This is definitely one to check out. It's great. I watched this like several times throughout the year because it doesn't have to be Christmas for me to enjoy it. And man, I'm already pushing 10 minutes, so I hope I don't have to break this into 3, but I have a feeling I might. My favorite wedding movie, and I'll just do these quickly so maybe I can finish up, is The Wedding Date. So, yeah. She hires a man to be her date because she doesn't want her family to realize that she's poor and, lonely and single. So, yeah. Ugh. Dermot Mulroney. He is one. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah. Wedding Date. Love that one. I'm starting to daydream about him now. My favorite 80s movie, and this is my husband as well, he'll actually agree on this one because, again, there's so many to pick from, but one he and I both watch all the time is Ghostbusters. I love it. I love them. They're so fun. I can watch them any time of the year, all year long, and especially when either one of us is like, what can we watch? Like, Yeah, Ghostbusters is definitely a good, like, feel-good, go-to type of movie, and come on, you can never say who you calling or who you gonna call ever again without this slamming into your face and in your head. I mean, it's definitely like a life changer. There's so many quotes that just come straight out of this movie, we don't even realize we're saying them half the time. My favorite Disney princess movie, well, point blank, Beauty and the Beast. I don't even have to go in details. I love it. She's great. She's my favorite one. And my favorite just in general Disney movie, which this is just one that is made by Disney, it's not necessarily like the kid Pixar-y type movies, is National Treasure. I mean, like I said, it's made by Disney, but anything made by Jerry Bruckheimer, as produced anyway, is great. And they're actually going to start working on a 3rd one, so I'm really excited because this is one of my favorite like adventure movies, and it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's action, it's adventure, but I just kind of broke them into 2 because I just picked one for each category. But I love me some National Treasure. It's pretty cool. And the movies that I've watched the most, I kind of picked 2 because one's from when I was like in middle school and one's from high school. When I was younger, I watched Now and Then religiously. My best girlfriends and I would watch this over and over and over and fight over who got to be who. And then when I got into high school, 10 Things I Hate About You came out, and that just like took over a whole new level, and I watched this one into the ground. I actually had to rebuy the movie because I watched it so much, like I just basically destroyed it. And let's see, a movie that I have actually never seen despite the hype, and I'm going to totally jump on everyone else's answer because I think it's so funny at this point, but Avatar. I've rented it before, like I've gone to the library, checked it out before, and I never watch it. I don't know if it's just because it's long, even though I watched Gone with the Wind. It's just, I have to really be in the mood for something like that, you have to really stick with it and, keep your eyes on it. So yeah, Avatar is the one I've never seen. And the first movie I ever remember seeing at the theater, which my mother, they took me when I was very little, well, not real little, like infant, but when I was old enough, which I don't remember. But the first movie that when I go back in my mind to think of is The Lion King. I do remember this. I remember being a kid, running around, getting on everybody's nerves, getting slapped, like The Lion King. I actually remember, this is the first one that I just remember being at the theater and being with the grown-ups and doing my thing. And the last is obviously like the best question that's for a Movie Madness tag is, what is my all-time favorite movie? I had to think about it for a moment, but it's one that I've seen a million times. My husband loves it, I love it, and it's just the best ever, is The Count of Monte Cristo. It's a little bit out of the box. Like, it's not really something that people go, oh, that's my favorite ever, but it is the absolute best revenge, thriller, action, drama movie you will ever see in your life. And if you like the new show that's been on called Revenge, this is what it was based off of. So, Revenge is one of the best shows out there right now. Love it. So I love this movie. I love the new show because Count of Monte Cristo is one of those that you just, you root for this guy like something awful. So I'm running on 15 minutes, but thanks for stopping by. Please comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.